I remember when I used to scream at the sight of this. Nowadays, I just scream at the thought of somebody finding out I kind of like Mario Kart Tour. Man, talk about a controversial title. Mario Kart Tour is such a bizarre release. I mean, pretty much all of Nintendo's mobile games are. And Nintendo started their mobile game tirade with Miitomo. Yeah. For years, Nintendo refused to do anything on mobile. And then they finally did it, and it was Miitomo and Mario Run and Dragalia Lost. I don't know. Back then, it felt like Nintendo on mobile was a surefire bet. You know, like no matter what, it's like, oh my god, a 2D Mario on iPhone? That's gonna do numbers! Turns out it ended up doing number. There was always a couple of things holding back pretty much any of Nintendo's major mobile games. It's the fact that they kind of held the games themselves back from being like what a lot of the consumers really wanted out of these mobile games. So Miitomo was like Tomodachi Life, you know, Tomodachi Life. But like it was greatly cut back in terms of what Tomodachi Life was. You know, you could do so much in that game. It was so silly. And Miitomo was pretty much like if Tomodachi Life's content was replaced with like social media posts. Pretty much you respond to questions and then you can see your friends' responses and just kind of giggle at them. That's pretty much all Miitomo was, and it shut down a couple years later. But then, Nintendo announced Super Mario Run. Pretty much like what everybody expected out of like a Nintendo mobile game. It's a Mario auto runner. And yeah, I liked Mario Run. I thought for what it was, it did the job. I really did enjoy it for what it was. But the problem was, it cost $10. And you know, kudos to Nintendo for like trying to instill like a more premium price point in the mobile space. You know, like a big problem with the mobile space is the fact that all the games pretty much have to be free, just riddled with microtransactions and ads and all of that junk. And here comes Mario Run saying, no, we're gonna charge for our game. The problem was it was free on the App Store, and then you had to do a $10 purchase to get, you know, the rest of the levels. You could play like the first 2.5, 3.5 levels, and then you had to pay for it. And I don't think a lot of people expected that, and I remember seeing a lot of tweets from like casual people going, what the fuck? I don't think they were expecting for the game to be fully free. Something like, oh, you can play through the whole game, but you have to like wait if you lose all your lives. You have to wait 10 hours to refill your gauge. And if you don't want to do that, pay up some money. Or, oh yeah, it's free, but between every single level is like a 2-minute long unskippable ad. That's what people are used to in the mobile space. They aren't used to paying money for entertainment. They're used to paying money for worthless bullshit. So while Mario Run had like an obscene amount of downloads, it didn't make a ton in terms of revenue, which was unfortunate. You know, I liked Mario Run. I'm not gonna act like it's anything more than just like an okay game overall, but for a mobile game, I liked it. But then we had Fire Emblem Heroes and Animal Crossing Pocket Camp, both of which I think turned out to be like some of the most successful Nintendo games on mobile. And it's mainly because like they were more so structured like other mobile games. Specifically Fire Emblem Heroes, like that is still consistently like the Nintendo mobile game that rakes in the most revenue. Then we had Dragalia Lost, which was an interesting case. You know, here's a brand new IP that's published by Nintendo for mobile. So, that was kind of funky. I played a bit of that before they shut it down. I don't remember anything about it, but still. And then there was Dr. Mario World. That was another one where I kind of thought like, oh, damn, that's got to be perfect for mobile. And it wasn't Dr. Mario. I'm really sorry. It was like Dr. Mario upside down, trying to be a little more Candy Crush than traditional Dr. Mario. It still had the elements of Dr. Mario, so, you know, I'm not gonna act like, oh man, this isn't Dr. Mario, but I gotta be honest, like, when I played it, I was like, this isn't really scratching my Dr. Mario itch. And yeah, Dr. Mario World ended up pretty much totally bombing. Like, that got shut down fairly quickly after launch, which was unfortunate, but I think it just showed that I'm not sure if Nintendo completely understood the mobile market. In some cases they did, in some cases they didn't, but it did kind of feel like, you know, either they didn't want to go full on mobile or they went too far trying to be full on mobile, you know? Like something like Mario Run was not suited for the mobile marketplace. They, you know, I'll give them that. They really tried to push forward with like an actual price point for their game on mobile. It didn't work that well, but you have to commend them for that. But then you get to something like Dr. Mario World, which felt like it was kind of chasing after the Candy Crush style of puzzle games a little too much. Stuff like Animal Crossing Pocket Camp may have looked like Animal Crossing, may have felt like Animal Crossing, but then, you know, it's obvious like, yeah, this is way too mobile-esque. It isn't the Animal Crossing that I want. Which then brought us to Mario Kart Tour. This was announced in early 2018, and this was a big deal. You know, Mario Kart was next in line in terms of just like games that all casual audiences knew, and every single one of them wanted it on their phone. I remember so many Mario Kart ripoffs that it's just like, hey, just something to scratch that itch, you know? The same with like 2D Mario ripoffs. I remember playing Leps World 2, not because I wanted to, but it's just like, it was the closest damn thing. I was just trying to feel something, man. And Mario Kart Tour was announced like a year and a half before it actually came out, which was crazy for a mobile game. But, you know, it's obvious Nintendo really wanted to push forward that, like, hey, like, this is serious. We really want to make a great Mario Kart game on mobile. And I had no idea what to expect from this. But about a year later, Nintendo commenced a beta program where people could, you know, test out the game on Android. They couldn't share images. They couldn't share video. I think I caught a little bit of, like, leaked stuff. And yeah, it did look like Mario Kart. But it finally released in the fall of 2019. And people fucking hated it. Mario Kart Tour got a generally, like, mediocre rating from a lot of people. I think a lot of people ended up just, like, not really liking it, mainly because it was like, okay, like, there's the Mario Kart flavor, but it's surrounded by just egregious microtransactions. The prices for characters was absurd. Like, I remember seeing something like Diddy Kong was like $50. To be fair, you did get him with like some car parts. Ooh, boy. But the characters were so expensive because the main thing Mario Kart Tour wanted you to do was purchase these rubies to use the pipe to possibly get like some high-end items randomly. It was a, as many would say, a gotcha mechanic. It was pretty much just a lottery thing. Pretty much loot boxes for Mario Kart. It's unprecedented times here. On top of that, so much of Mario Kart Tour felt very, like, automated. You know, the fact that it was designed to be a casual touchscreen mobile game that you play in quick bursts, kind of forced it to remove a lot of the, you know, skill out of Mario Kart. Like, you automatically accelerated, you automatically drifted. Even something like when a blooper hit you, you could just use your finger to, like, wipe it off screen. So, like, that item went from the most useless Mario Kart item to the most useless Mario Kart item. And the majority of tracks in the game were just from previous Mario Karts, and there was only like a couple new ones, and they were all based on actual locations throughout the world. And those tracks weren't very good. They were base level fine, but nothing about them really was interesting. It was more so like, here's an original track based on New York. Wow, I find it impressive they were able to make a track based on New York this damn boring. It felt like they kind of cornered themselves with the idea of doing like tracks based on things around the world just because they thought, hey, it's Mario Kart on mobile. Oh, Mario Kart Tour. And yeah, when they were actually designing the real world locations, I think they realized like, damn, we don't got much to go off of here. And you know what was really weird about Mario Kart Tour? It's the fact that the game kind of wanted you to think you were playing against like real life players. So when you go into a match here, you're randomly gonna see like all these usernames pop up. And like, they're like auto-generated. Like, who are these people? But it's not like actual online multiplayer. They really want to make you think that, but it's not. But yeah, as we can see, holding down at the start, that's the only time it matters. Like, look, I'm not doing anything. And yeah, it's pretty much like playing with the assisted driving in Mario Kart 8. If I just don't do anything, like, the game's gonna play itself. Other than like, oh, I'll hit these items. All right, that's it. And yeah, and it turns out most of the time to get ahead in this game, it doesn't even matter about getting in first necessarily. You just want to do like the most tricks or use items or whatever to get points here. So then you can get like whatever, 5 stars in your thing. So then you can get more rubies eventually. You can get stuff on your scorecard or whatever. Basically, it's just, it's weird. And as I have the game play itself, I will say I played a lot of Mario Kart Tour when it came out, and I still didn't like it, but I will admit I played a lot of it when it came out. And I'm really ashamed of that because I barely touched it, and I still got 5th. Oh, hell yeah, 5 stars after getting 5th place. Yeah, that makes sense. At the time of its release, I tried out Mario Kart Tour, and I thought, this isn't very good. And then I kept playing it. And then I didn't play it for a couple days, and then I fired it back up before I went to bed one night. And then it kind of became my nighttime game for like a month. Don't get me wrong, I knew it was junk food, but you know the thing about junk food, right? That was my representation of a glutton. So here's the thing. I stopped looking at Mario Kart Tour as a Mario Kart game. If you directly compare it to something like Mario Kart 8, Mario Kart 7, Mario Kart Wii, DS, anything like that, yeah, it kind of pisses you off. I instead looked at it as something to kind of just waste my time in, to just kind of like go for 5 stars in each of these races, try to get as many rubies as I can, try and just get as many coins and then get a cool thing without paying for anything outside of the gold pass. And I'm always ashamed of any microtransaction I buy. I've been playing Words of Wonder on my phone, which is just a dumb little crossword game. And like, whatever. It's just, I'm just wasting my time doing that. You know, like right before I go to bed, I'm like, yeah, I'll find some damn words. But after a while, there's like a brand new 2-minute long fucking ad after every single crossword I do. And the crosswords aren't even hard. And I'm just like, fine, screw you. I'm gonna buy the no ads version. I felt ashamed, but I was so damn tired of seeing that stupid ass king from Royal Match. I was just like, f off. But the Gold Pass in Mario Kart Tour is like a $5 a month subscription plan that I bought once, and then I removed for the next month. And like a couple months ago, I actually bought it again, and I completely forgot to cancel it. So I have wasted $5 a month for a couple months. I'm not happy, and I don't know why I'm telling you this, but there you go. That's my Shakespearean flaw. You know, it's kind of like Tinder Gold. Really gets you ahead of the game, you know? I was just getting more rubies, and I was just getting more from the game, which was, you know, it was entertaining. I refused to buy any of the characters outright. Didn't care about that. But yeah, I will admit, I bought the Gold Pass. I'm an idiot. But yeah, when I was playing Mario Kart Tour as if it wasn't a Mario Kart game, and I was just playing it as something to just kind of waste my time in, it became a lot more fun. And it became something where it was kind of fun going through one of the many tours that appeared in the game to just try and get through as much as possible to potentially get a cool character or cool cart. And I gotta be honest, pulling down the pipe and seeing if you get like a really cool item was kind of addictive. And that's a problem because, you know, a lot of people could accidentally spend a lot of money doing that. Which is why I'm calling this the redemption of Mario Kart Tour, because they made a lot of decisions to make this game a whole lot better over time. For example, they got rid of the gacha mechanic. Now, you just use rupees to just buy characters and cars outright. Because before, it was kind of like a shot in the dark if you get the character you want. The only way you could get the character you want was by outright spending like a ludicrous amount of money. You can still spend a ludicrous amount of money, but it's all just to get like a bunch of rubies, which you can get just by playing the game. So, you know, it's not that bad. It's still like mobile game microtransactions. Let's not dance around that. But I have to commend them that they definitely cleaned up their act a bit over time. In addition, there's actual multiplayer now. Back in the day, you know, like it was like they were trying to fool you into thinking you were playing people online. Now, not only can you play people online, but you can also do battle. There's also battle mode in this game now, which wasn't available at launch. There's also a landscape mode, which a lot of people would definitely prefer. I'm used to playing this game vertically like this, so that's how I do it. But that was a big deal because it felt like Nintendo had like this strict protocol with their mobile games that they all had to be played in portrait mode. Because like, tell me, like, is there any reason why Mario Run works better in portrait mode? It is a horizontal platformer. You would think like doing it in landscape mode would make a lot more sense. But no, I think Nintendo really wanted to take advantage of the mobile mindset, the on-the-go mindset, and make it so then you could play pretty much any of their mobile games with one hand. In fact, they said that while debuting Mario Run. Miyamoto said like, hey, you can play it with one hand, you can eat an apple with the other. But yeah, after all the updates they've given Mario Kart Tour, and just the sheer amount of content in this game, like they have like every single damn character you could possibly imagine in this game. There's so many kart parts and gliders, all of this stuff in the game, and so many remade courses. There is like a huge amount. And the problem is, they're not all available at once. Like the game shuffles through them all, and you have to keep coming back after like 2 weeks for the tour to end, so then like a new set of courses can appear, which I think is kind of lame, where it's like this game has the most content of any Mario Kart game, but you know, you can't access it all at once. You have to wait for it to shuffle in, which is a bit lame. But hey, I mean, with that much content and this being a mobile game, they definitely just want a reason for you to hop back in. If it's like, oh, it's a new tour, oh, I might be able to get that character I wanted. But I think what made me truly respect Mario Kart Tour a lot more is seeing a lot of this content in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe via the Booster Course Pass. I think Nintendo did a smart thing here because Mario Kart Tour is always online. It will probably go offline at some point, and that really stinks, but it's like, that's just the norm for a lot of these mobile games. You know, like, you have to connect to the internet. It's dumb, but whatever. But thankfully, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe preserved most of the necessary content to preserve from Mario Kart Tour. And even though a lot of the real-life city tracks are still like some of the lamest in Mario Kart 8, it still makes you kind of appreciate them. Like, hey, these are actual tracks in a Mario Kart game that, you know, actually requires a bit more skill to win at. That's pretty cool. And it also makes you respect a lot of like what they did to the retro tracks. They actually did quite a bit of work to these things. You know, they didn't just go for the easy picks. You know, they remastered a ton of GBA courses and SNES courses that have never been remastered before, which is weird because Mario Kart Tour is mostly based on Mario Kart 7. At launch, the majority of Mario Kart 7 tracks were in Mario Kart Tour, and pretty much all of the retro tracks that were in Mario Kart 7 were a part of Mario Kart Tour as well. Just the fact that mechanically the game was kind of stuck in the Mario Kart 7 era. You don't have the anti-gravity from Mario Kart 8. You had none of like the Mario Kart 8 tracks or anything like that. Visually, it looked like a cleaned up Mario Kart 7. It was pretty much like a remix of Mario Kart 7 on mobile, which made it that much more surprising when they actually introduced brand new courses that weren't based off of cities and remasters that have never been remastered before, like Sunset Wilds and Piranha Plant Cove. But I think one of the coolest things about Mario Kart Tour was the amount of characters here. I mean, you have pretty much everybody here. You have returning characters that weren't in Mario Kart 8, or really any Mario Kart for a while. Like, we have Donkey Kong Jr. from the Super Nintendo, and look at him, he is just directly the Super Nintendo sprite. That's incredible. And just so many costumes, it's insane. Like, look at that. It's a pirate. They went crazy with this. It's wild to me how much effort they'll put in mobile games, and it almost seems like it takes like no development time at all, which is obviously stupid. Like, a lot of this takes so much effort. But it's crazy to me how like so many mobile games have all this content while you look at like home console games and they have like a fraction of this. I feel like it's obviously because like they're gonna put like all these costumes in the mobile game because they know they can sell them and they can be a little egregious about it, but still, it's really cool. And I really hope to see like multiple costumes like this in future Mario Kart releases. And I gotta be honest, even though the gameplay is very automated, when you're actually just playing the game and it's just kind of a mindless mobile game, of course, you know, the fact that I call it a mindless mobile game shows you that this is far from a perfect experience. This is not a definitive Mario Kart experience. But I think as a mobile Mario Kart game, the amount of content here and the quality that it's at, I think it's underrated. I think Mario Kart Tour is underrated. Is it a great Mario Kart? Probably not. But it is a great mobile game. It's way better than a lot of the shit out there on the App Store. The modern mobile game is so damn pointless. They require no strategy. It's literally just clicking buttons and just seeing things happen. I got into Monopoly Go for a bit, and even when I was into it, I knew it was stupid. There's no strategy, but me and my friends all talked about it as if there was strategy. When like something would happen where it's just like, oh man, you destroyed my landmark. Like, Did you really destroy that landmark because there was any strategic decision there? No, you just hit go, and you just let the game go do its thing for a little bit, and then like, oh man, it's time to destroy a landmark, and then you just hit a button. That's all you do. Like, it's not like you went up out of your way, or you made any decisions, or you had any skill here. No, the game decided when it wanted to give you a lot of money, so you used that money, and you made the decisions because the game told you to make those decisions. And that's pretty much every mobile game out there. And Mario Kart Tour, yes, it's a bit automated, but, you know, like, I can actually play it. Yes, I got 5 stars and just let the game do its thing for a bit there, but that's not going to be every race. And to be fair, you can do the exact same thing in Mario Kart 8. you can just have the game be automated there, so it's just like, you know, whatever. As a little mobile game stimulant, I think it does its job. And I think as far as mobile games go, it is one of the better time wasters out there. It's a time waster that I think is a lot less embarrassing than all the other mobile games on the App Store right now. And the amount of work they put into Mario Kart Tour, I don't think has gone unnoticed. Mainly because they repurposed it all for the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Pass. So thankfully, a lot of this stuff was able to be appreciated in some way. And yeah, I'd rather experience a lot of that content in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. However, in the base game, it's a solid little mobile game. I don't know what else to tell you. See, look at this. That required some skill. I missed the damn obstacle. And look at that. Look at that. I ran into it. Automated. See, this game is not complete dog shit. Of course, Mario Kart Tour and its new content has ended, which, you know, I mean, like, hey, all this has to end at some point. And I'm happy that they're relocating resources elsewhere. But, you know, hey, I mean, like, it got years worth of content. Almost like 5 years worth of new content getting pumped out all the time. Like, that's insane. But I think as it stands, it has more than enough content. Even if you played through everything as it came out, I mean, there is no way you have every single character without being at least slightly in debt. So them just kind of retreading old tours, just kind of going like, okay, you know, like, we're going to keep the game going, but, you know, hey, it's just going to be recycled content from previous tours. That's perfectly fine, and I think that's a perfectly healthy way for this game to ride off into the sunset. And I hope it continues to live on for a while, because as far as mobile games go, this is one of the best mobile games out there. You know, like a mobile game that's like, obviously still pretty mobile. You know, microtransactions, and just, obviously it's just trying to make you feel something instead of being like an actually well-designed game. It is one of the better versions of those out there, so I hope it lives on. I like playing it from time to time, but even then, you know, after a bit, you kind of get burnt out on it, so then you stop playing it for a couple months, and then you might hop back in and try it some more, and then you get burnt out on it. You know, that's the mobile game cycle for me. But like I said, for what it is, I think Mario Kart Tour is a good mobile game. As a Mario Kart game, it's like a 6.5 out of 10. But I think it has redeemed itself from its, like, wishy-washy launch. Because damn, without the gotcha pipe mechanic, things are so much better. You know, hey, the brown me racing suit only costs 70 rubies. And how much does 70 rubies cost? Okay, it wasn't a full redemption.